Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be sharing two projects with you that I made using Sherry Baldy's My Besties card toppers. In fact, for both projects I used her vintage card topper, and below, down there, will be a link directly to this card topper as well as links to Sherry Baldy's stores. So the projects I made today were with Mother's Day in mind because Mother's Day is coming up shortly. So let's start off with my first thing. It's a card, of course, because every mother deserves a card on Mother's Day. And this is the adorable vintage card topper. Isn't she just the cutest thing you've ever seen? And you don't even have to color her because she comes already colored, which is awesome. And what I did was I printed her out on linen paper, and then I distressed and inked the edges, giving it more of a vintage look. And then I attached her to another piece of paper that I didn't print it out, but it comes on linen paper. And it absolutely matched this card topper so well, I couldn't help but use it. And I distressed the edges of that and also inked those edges. And put on some pearls to give it a little elegance, a little lace and ribbon and flowers down there. This card was so easy to do. Thanks to that card topper, it just all came together. I would also like to share with you where I got that linen paper from that totally matches that image. And this was the package it came out of. If that helps you at all, maybe you can track it down. The other project that I made is an altered cigar box. Because after all, when you give Mom her card, you probably would like to give her a present too. And as you can see, I used the same card topper. She looks a little darker because I actually printed her twice, which is a long story. And just like with the card, I used the same papers and the same distressing techniques. And I'm going to be doing a tutorial on making this cigar box right after this. So I'll be back in a minute to share the cigar box and the directions with you. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is remove any paper from the cigar box that will come off. Now, as you can see, I've left this on here. I couldn't even find an edge to lift it. And also, not only are we going to be painting over this, but on the top here, I'm going to be putting paper and images and things, so I'm not really worried about it. On the inside, I removed what was here and I've sanded it down, so you'll still see some paper there, but again I'm going to be putting papers and things like that right there as well. So once you've gotten off any loose paper, grab a sanding block and kind of go over it to make sure that there aren't any loose pieces, if there's any left over, and that takes care of the first step. Okay, the next step is I'm using gesso. You might just want to paint it, but I'm going to put a layer of gesso on first to give it a good covering and a good base. And I used an old, lid from an old yogurt cup here. Paintbrush, put my gesso in there. And basically I'm going to give the whole box a nice covering. And if I feel the need for a second coat, I will, but I probably won't. As you can see, it's covering up this label pretty good, and well, that's going to be covered up anyway, as I said, because on mine anyway, I'm going to be putting paper over it. When you make yours, you may choose not to and to just paint it. So we'll be back after I have that completed. Okay, as you can see, I've got gesso painted all over my box. And of course you can still see the paper that was underneath. In my case, it doesn't matter because I'm going to be gluing paper over the top of it, and I still have 2 more layers of paint to go. But I wanted you to see that not all boxes will have something on the front for you to worry about. Or you may have a cigar box that has an image on it that you're not going to be able to get off at all. And that's something you're going to have to work with. You may want extra layers of gesso or extra layers of paint, but that's up to you depending on the box that you're using. And also, once you get that gesso put on, you might want to take a little sanding block or a piece of sandpaper and just gently sand off any rough edges that you don't want. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a layer of paint. And for the box to turn out like you saw, I actually have a color as an undercoat, and then I'm going to go over it again with white, and then I'm going to be sanding part of it off to get the effect that you saw. So right now is the time where you pick the paint you want and you just start painting it on. So I'll be back when I get that all done, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, yes, you can see I already started painting it up there with the next color, but I wanted to share with you that the color I had used is a Martha Stewart color called Surf. And sure, well, I would show you, but it doesn't seem to want to work. Okay, take my word for it. It's called Surf. And I was going to use another Martha Stewart paint called Summer Linen for the next layer. This thing is just being temperamental here. But I decided that it was too pale, so I ended up using another one that's called Buttermilk. And the reason is, this is what the colors are that it's supposed to be. I accidentally ran this through the printer twice. Long story. So the color came out more yellow. So that's why I'm choosing to go with Buttermilk. Anyways, I am going to finish painting this box, and I will be back here in a minute when it's done. Okay, I got the box painted, and actually, see if I can get the color to show up here. It's being a pain. Well, I was originally going to put on 2 coats of that buttermilk color, and then I was going to sand through it to get that bluish green color to show through. But I really like the way it turned out with just 1 coat and the color showing through. So I'm going to leave it. And remember, some of this stuff is going to be hidden under the paper, and that's what I'm going to do next. So again, instead of painting it and sanding it, I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'll be back after I get everything put on it. Audio Jungle. saw in the pictures of each step along the way, we are now at this point. But what I'd like to do is actually take a minute to describe each step to you and what I did that got us to here. So the first thing I did is I took this adorable vintage bestie, and normally I would be tearing the edges and then inking them, but I printed her out on a linen paper. And so what I used is a pair of scissors I have that kind of give it a ragged edge, which is just what I need. And then after cutting it with that, I used Vintage Photo Distress ink and inked the edges to really give it that vintage look. And then I glued that on to this other paper. Was not attached to the box yet, and I'm going to explain to you why. Once I got it on there, then I gave it a couple coats of Krylon Fusion, and I do that a lot when I'm making things with paper, like if I'm covering a frame or a clock. And the reason is that the Krylon Fusion will help protect it from fading and you know, from dust and dirt. So after I did a couple coats of that and it was dry, then I adhered it to the top of the box with this. This is a spray adhesive that works really well, and it really coats the back of the paper so that every inch of it sticks to the box instead of just trying to do the edges with a different kind of glue. And then after I did that, I put this adhesive trim on all the way around the edges. So really nice. I mean, that's not paper, it is actually like embroidery. And I picked that up at Michael's for, I think it was $1.50 or $1, you know, out of one of their little bins. This is all I have left of that, but this is really amazing for the price. And then the next step is the flat back pearls, and I place those in each of the loops of this trim all the way around the box. It's really elegant. I love the look. And the next thing I did was add these adorable pink roses, which putting the box down, I should actually show you. They look just like the roses that are on this paper. And I got those in a package that actually had 4 different colors. I still have some of the pink left over. And these are just beautiful. They actually come with the stems on them, so you can use them for other things, but I cut them off for this use. And I got these from Creating with Details. I absolutely love her things. Great prices and great products. And so that finished up the outside, or the top. I also painted over all of the bright, shiny gold metal on here because I didn't want it bright and shiny. This is supposed to be vintage or shabby chic. And so I got rid of that. And then I went to the inside. On the inside, I cut a piece of pink felt to the right size and adhered that to the bottom. And then in the lid, I took an older piece of paper and layered that with the same flowered paper that's on the front. And that flowered paper, I did the same treatment to that I did on our vintage bestie, which was using the scissors to give it a ragged edge and then inking it. And then I added this saying, "Youth is the gift of nature, but age is the work of art." And I thought that was appropriate for this box because it is to look aged and it is a work of art. And I also had sprayed this with the Krylon Fusion before putting it in here to protect it. And now I have one more step to go and this box will be done. Let me show you here. I'm going to put these beautiful little feet or legs, whatever they're called. I call them legs, but I think they're called feet. And this is this is metal. I mean, not bending. I'm pushing on it. They're gorgeous, and they're going to, let me get it turned the right direction here, attach right here on the bottom. So when I get those all attached, I will come back and show you. And by the way, those are also from Creating with Details. And I just want to share with you because I love it when I find a good deal, and to be able to make this box on a budget is great. This package of 4 of these feet was $1. Yep, only $1 at Creating with Details, and they're gorgeous. So this box is coming together fairly inexpensively, but looking gorgeous. All right, I'll be back with the completed box in a minute. Okay, here we are back with the completed box. Got the legs put on, or feet, whatever they, choose to be called. And it definitely completes the box. If you wanted to, just how we painted over the latch and the hinges, you could paint over these legs, but I chose not to because they were so beautiful. I didn't want to cover them up. But everybody has their own taste, and you can do with that what you want. But there's the beautiful altered cigar box. Oh, and I wanted to let you know, I am very new to this E6000. I saw someone using it in another craft project, and they were using it to put the legs on. And so that's what I used to put these on. I'm not sure I'm 100% crazy about it, but we'll find out as time goes on and I get to use it more. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching, and I hope you visit Sherry Baldy's stores that are listed below. She has a few of them. And look for those card toppers like I used. They're easy to use and so versatile. And check out everything else she has too, because she has a lot. Everything from CDs to bottle cap, images, digis, just countless things. You'll be surprised. Thank you for watching. Talk to you next time.